All right, yay, more factoring when a is equal to 1. So there's 4 of them here. If you want to try them before I talk through them, you're more than welcome to. So let's go ahead and look at the first one. Now, my first step is what? Look for a GCF for all 3 terms. Now notice, the topic of this is a is equal to 1. And when I look, a is equal to 3. I might have a GCF for all 3 terms. Are all these numbers divisible by 3? Well, they are. So I need to go ahead and take out my 3 from all 3 terms. Okay, which means this 3 is going to sit out here in the front. We're not going to do much with it. And what I'm factoring is actually what's in black. All right. Now I go to step 2. My last sign is negative, which means my signs are opposite. And I'm subtracting to get my middle term. I'm not worried about the 3 in blue. This time my 4 is positive, so my larger sign in this case must be positive. So factors of 5 are 5 times 1. And do they subtract and give me 4? They do. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my 2 binomials. Put my x in the front. Have my 5 and my 1 in the back. Now my larger number must be plus, which means the 5 gets the plus. The 1 gets the minus. And that 3 that we pulled out at the beginning goes ahead and sits out front. All right. Again, you could check to make sure your middle 2 terms give you positive 4. They do in this case. And the 3 needs to be there at the end that you took out the beginning, just like we did when we did factoring by grouping. All right. Example 2, our a is equal to 1 in this case, but notice in this case I have an exponent of 3. Okay. Remember, we needed it to be 2 in order for it not to have a GCF, so it must have a GCF of y, and we do have a y to the first here at the end. So I'm going to go ahead here, pull out a y. And then what we actually are factoring is y squared minus y minus 20. Okay. My 20 has a minus in the front. My signs are opposite. My second term, remember there's an imaginary 1 there. If you want to put it there, that's fine. Is minus, so therefore my larger number must be negative. And they must subtract and give me that 1. So 20 factors into 5 times 4. And 5 minus 4 is indeed 1. So I'm going to go ahead and create my 2 binomials. This one I have y's, so I got to make sure that I have y's in my binomials. I have a 5 and a 4. The 5 must have the negative. The 4 must have the positive. And the y I pulled out at the beginning goes and sits out front. Okay, so the only thing really different with these is that now I've put GCFs out there to make sure that you look for them. So right now, when we know we're factoring a is equal to 1 and you see something different, something other than a squared term or something other than a equals to 1, you know you probably have a GCF at this point until we do numbers where a is not equal to 1. All right, here's 2 more for you. I totally encourage you to try them. And then pause, and then restart when you have tried them both, and watch me work them out. All right, we see in the pace of most of these, but this one has a squared term, but it has a 3 in the front. A is not equal to 1. So I want to go ahead and make sure to go ahead and take out that 3. When I take out that 3, I have x squared minus 5x plus 6. Okay, so here my last term is positive. which means I'm going to either have 2 pluses or 2 minuses, and I'm going to be adding to get my middle term. My first one sign here is minus, so I'm going to have 2 negatives. And factors of 6 that add up to 5 are 2 times 3. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my 2 binomials. I have my x's in the front. I have my 2 and my 3. They're both negative. And my 3 that I pulled out at the beginning goes ahead and sits out front. Example 4, again, I have a squared term, but I have a 2 in the front, which means all of these should be divisible by 2, and they're all even. So that works out great. When I go ahead and take out my 2, I have x squared minus 10x plus 25. Now the 25 has a plus, so my sign should be the same. So I should be adding to get my middle term. The 10x has a minus, so they should both be negative. And for 25, I get 5 times 5, which adds up to 10, thank goodness. Go ahead and set up my 2 binomials. I have an x in the front. I have 5's in the back. They are both minus. And the 2 I pulled out at the beginning sits out front. Now, this was also, once I factored out the 2, this was a perfect square trinomial. See, my binomials are the same. So this also could be written, not that you have to, as x minus 5 squared with the 2 in the front. All right. Either one, either number 1 here or number 2, they're both correct answers. All right, so go ahead and try the practice problems. Make sure to ask questions, and I'll see you when A is no longer equal to 1.